Hi guys. So I'm having a hard time. This is so funny. First world problems, right? So I'm having a hard time adjusting to. So I have these like 12 books that I'm probably going to turn into 13 or 14 books that I want to read for this year because I added one, so already that's 13. I added two actually. One that I just already read because I joined a book club. And then I added another one that I heard on a podcast. And then I am definitely going to add at least two from this author who I just finished reading. A French author. His name is Laurent Mauvignier. So it's the latest book that won the Prix Goncourt. And that's what I'm having a hard time adjusting from. So, I finished my book. I thought about it for maybe half hour after, but I've been thinking about it ever since. And then I started my new book, which is The Correspondent, which is good. It's not that I'm not into it. It's also, I've been reading when I'm very tired, like before bed. So I like sleep. I'll read like 2 letters and I'll fall asleep. It's not boring. It's me who's tired. And because I'm also still like digesting La Maison Vide. So La Maison Vide is the book I just finished. I try to read at least one French book a year. I think I've already read 2, even though I'm not counting the first one because I hated it, but 2 because I started it in 2025 and it just leaked into January of 2026. That was a Canadian book called La Bigame. It was recommended to me by a friend who usually we love the same books. This one I absolutely abhorred. But anyway, so I tried, to keep my French because I get like freak out moments and I'm gonna forget all my French that I worked very hard to learn in my life. And I love it. Like I love speaking French. I love reading French. I think it's a beautiful language. So the point is that I try to read at least one French novel. The past maybe 3 years, it's been past Prix Goncourt winners, and I've loved all of them except for one. So I couldn't read or get into one that's La plus secrète mémoire des hommes or something like that. That one, no, I hated it. I mean, I got maybe 100 pages in because I kept trying to give it a chance. It was horrible to me. But Veiller sur elle, I loved. Vivre Vite, I loved. Anyway, the point is, this one I loved and it's captivated me. And then I've heard a few interviews of the author, and I'm even more captivated by it because although clearly it's a work of fiction, he even says this, parts of, he had to recreate dialogue stuff. Of course, he wasn't there. But it's the story of his family and like of his grandmother and his great grandmother, and it's beautifully written. Now, I will say that like he has these long run-on sentences, and I have a love affair with run-on sentences. It's just like how I think. It's very like stream of consciousness. I mean, not that I'm comparing myself to him. I'm just saying like that run-on sentences have never bothered me. I'm like, yes, you need to complete this thought out. Like, no, the period is too final. We need to keep going with this thought. But anyway, so he writes really long, but they're like very fluid, and he writes very clearly, like in almost like a cinematic way. So you get into the book and you get into these characters, like you live in this world. And so, it's still French, so there's no happy endings at all, except, and there's really no redemption either, except for I feel like he redeems the memory of his grandmother that was like a banned subject in his family, right? I don't want to go into the details because I feel like an English translation is forthcoming, and people need to read this book. It's scary, because it's scary if you're, scared of reading, because it's over 700 pages. It's about 744 pages, if I remember correctly. And, but it's such a wonderful read. It's like that people can do that with like language, and you inhabit that world, and you learn a little bit about history, about like Germany's occupation of France during that time, like how lives were during that time. So it's like wonderful. And so anyway, I'm still like digesting that book because it's so poetic, it's so beautiful, it's so like it's charming in that sense. It's not charming in like a fairy tale way, because it's like I said, it's not really a happy book. It's really the history of a family and of like lives basically gone awry. um and then there's also this like hidden sadness that might have been what prompted him also to write this book, the author. I mean, it's not that hidden, especially after you see his interviews. So because the author's dad commit suicide, which kind of, it bothers me a little bit that they mention it in every single interview that they mention of him. I mean, he mentions it in the book, but like he doesn't like focus on it. He doesn't go into it, um except to say that maybe he thought something in his family history, like this, like kind of like a domino effect thing, where like maybe his dad's suicide would have been, became inevitable, and he doesn't really get an answer for that. Even in like real life, he says that it's not really. But I think that's what led him to explore more of his family history. And then there was like this block because his grandmother's this big like missing piece, like literally missing from family pictures, right? Like cut out of family pictures. And so there's that. And but it really bothers me because I could almost feel that it's painful for him still. I mean, I don't know how long ago it was that, well, it had to be long ago, because I think he said he was 16 or 17 when his dad committed suicide. And then, I don't know how old he is now, but he must be maybe late 50s, 60s. I don't know. I'm going to look it up. I'm not sure. But like, he's a grown adult man now. And, but you could see that that's still something that's like unresolved and painful for him. And like, it's very, I feel like we Americans, like as like people are nosy, but like in the sense of like, they probably want to know, like, is he married? Because I want to know that. Is he married? Does he have kids? I don't know that. I did learn that he had cancer. Even while writing this book, he had cancer 2 years ago. Which even that revelation in one of the interviews, I was like, oh, he does say something personal. But it's like, I don't know, like they ask him kind of like just the same way you ask, oh, so the process of writing, or like how many books you wrote, oh, and and your father's suicide. Like I just feel like, I don't know if I'm overly sensitive, but I do feel like, because he's and I didn't expect him to be that way, the author, at least what you get from interviews, he's very engaging, but you could tell that he's very like introverted, almost like introspective. And that's not how he is, like on the page, right? He comes out as like very like vivid and almost like loquacious. So I was saying, like on the page you would think that this guy is very like vivacious, because he's very like detail oriented, long sentences. He's very detail oriented, like long sentences. And so, but then again, I don't know if that's because he's like more like observant and like quieter. I don't know. At least that's the impression that he gives, that's why he's able to write like that, because he observes everything, or maybe he absorbs everything. But like, I don't know. I thought he would be more vivacious. He's not boring. He's very interesting, but he's just not. Also, he doesn't like talk and talk and talk. Like he answers the questions. He's very like direct. He's not like, he doesn't talk the way he writes. But also, I mean, these are like short like radio interviews, or I say radio interviews, but like shows, right? Like little like TV shows or whatever. So, but I really like him as a person, the very little that I know, and I love his writing. So I'm dying to get other books by him. And my only like drawback a little bit is that, so this happened to me with another Prix Goncourt winner. Now, the author is Jean-Paul Dubois. And now Jean-Paul Dubois wrote Tous les hommes n'habitent pas le monde de la même façon, which I think that one is available in English, which I don't know what the translation would be. You know how they translate things that don't really have to do with the title sometimes, but it's all men don't inhabit the earth in the same way, right? That would be kind of like the translation. Anyway, I think it's one of my favorite books that I've read. It's like, it also kind of tragic, but it's funny, well written. You inhabit the characters as well. The main character, the narrator mostly. But the thing is that then I got a second book by this guy, Une Vie Française, and I just again, I got maybe up to page 100 because I was like giving it a chance, and I was like, you know what, I can't read this, it sucks. Like, I can't believe this is even the same author. Like, it's not the same style, it's not the same, like, I hated it. So anyway, and I don't want that to happen to Magical Movinier in my life. So yeah, so that's about it. I don't know, do you guys like get so absorbed up in books and that kind of thing? Anyway, the correspondent, very, by the way, I ordered it because I don't know, the premise seemed interesting to me, but I didn't realize it was like a viral book at the time. Well, I ordered it back in December. Apparently it's a viral book. So yeah, so I'll get into that one, and then we'll see what my next read is. I had established an order for reading the books, but then now it's more like, hey, what I feel like. I will say that, so La Maison Vide is kind of like a heavy book, and this book I think also treats tragedy and stuff, but since it's not like the story is coming out like in chunks, because it's really all correspondence. It's, the whole book is written in just like letters and emails, like the correspondence for the main character and people writing back to her. So I feel like it's lighter in that sense, and I needed something lighter. Maybe I'm gonna look for something maybe even funny for after this book, because really La Maison Vide is heavy. I don't know how else to say it, but it's not in a bad way. It's just like in a very realistic way, like, you know, life. And I'm an American dreamer, and so I like happy endings, and I like everything to be neatly resolved, and that's not really the French way. That's not really the life way, but yeah.